We are live.
Let's go with it. So listen, what if I told y'all? What if I told y'all, everybody watching, you could fish a tournament basically for free, and you'd have a chance to number one win gear, to win guy we're gonna talk with tonight. He won a boat. Brennan, have you taken that boat out by any chance?
Not yet. I've had like tournaments every weekend.
Yeah, that's right. You went straight from the one that we're about to talk about to somewhere. Where did you go right after that?
Center Hill.
Center Hill. Um,
hmm
anyway, to my point, if I tell you you can fish a tournament for free, you can win gear, you can win a boat, and not actually have an entry fee. Now, I don't know. I fish professional tournaments, and I pay. When I tell you I pay entry fees, I pay a real big entry fee. $5,500, actually $5,650 to be exact. By the time they hit you with that credit card fee on there, it's 3%. Whatever 5,500 is what I pay, and I ain't getting no boat. I ain't getting no boat. That boat is probably worth more than the profit that I get when I catch a check in my tournaments. If you win, you do good, but you just about got to win to do good.
hmm
But I host a tournament series in the app. It's called the Straight Up Fishing Classic. It's an online tournament. Anybody, anywhere can fish it. And so when I say that, somebody says, "Well, I'll just fish off the bank." Listen to what I said, Gerald. Anybody can fish the tournament. That means if you fish out of a kayak, you're welcome to come. That means if you're fishing out of a freaking off the bank, you can come. If you fish in ponds, you can come. If you fish in a creek, if you know how to catch one, I don't know, just wherever there's water and there's a bass, and whatever you fish out of, bass boat, off the bank, in the creek, I don't know, your cow pond, whatever it is, you can fish these tournaments. And so the whole goal for it was just to let people dip their toes in the tournament fishing without number one a huge investment like it can be. Also to kind of get you to realize that you can fish tournaments without a boat. And just to kind of get just dip your toes into competition. That's all. That's all it was about. And so tonight I got Brennan Majan. Brennan, do I ever say your last name right? Because I feel like I botch
No,
it
no.
every freaking time.
It's Malgin.
Maljan, like
Yes, sir.
miles. Like I'm gonna put some miles on it. Dun 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 dun. Whatever that country song is. Maljan. I say Majan. I can only imagine how people botch that, especially if you come to the South. It's
All the
gotta be
time at
pretty
weigh-in.
bad. Oh, what do they call your weigh-ins, dude?
I don't even know. It's something different every time. It's so bad.
Dude, it's like it's because the I and the L and the J, it's just
Yeah.
like you just don't see that. You just don't see that.
hmm
So Brennan Malgin, he won my Straight Up Fishing Championship, the online tournament series that we just talked about. And so he's going to join us here in the app today. We are streaming on Facebook. We're streaming on YouTube. No TikTok tonight, I don't think. We'll work on that. So we're going to talk about the tournament. We're going to talk about Brennan. We're going to, if you're in the app, you're more than welcome to put some questions up in the chat tonight, and we'll do our best. We're going to answer them. Not we're going to do our best, guys. Dang, we don't try to do anything in Straight Up Fishing app. We do stuff. We're either going to do it or we're not. We don't try to. So if you're in the app, if you're on Facebook and you put a question, I probably won't see it until tomorrow, and Brendan will be doing something else. So. Um, I had you guys tee up a few questions a couple weeks ago. I'd love to got this done a little bit quicker, but I was fishing tournaments. Brennan was fishing tournaments, so it was just kind of hard to get it coordinated right away. But let's get
Yes,
right into it.
you
Let's
are seeing bubbles with the thumbs up because apparently Brian has his little recognition. I'm getting bubbles showing up on the screen. So
yeah, I saw that too. I didn't even realize what that was.
your
Yeah.
phone's
Wh-
doing that. So I just want to make sure
Really? How?
somebody's not tripping seeing that
How is it doing that?
magic.
I saw it again.
It's
Wow.
it's magic.
Oh, by the way, I forgot to turn off my let me do this right quick. I'm gonna goof it up. Don't worry. I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm coming. I forgot to turn on my like do not disturb thing. My dad, my dad has called me just about every time. It's almost like he waits till I do a live to call me. Okay, I am back, right? Am I good?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Now, so we had some people in the app tee up a few questions for Brennan, but I think a good place to start, Brennan. We just need to give us a good one pager. Give us a little essay, a little mini essay. You're in school. Give us a little mini
Hmm.
essay on number one, what you've been doing, because you said you've been fishing a few tournaments. So let's
Yeah.
talk. Let's talk about where you've been, what you've been doing. Give me a one pager.
Yeah. So straight after the tournament on Russell, I like went to school for like a day and then went straight down to Center Hill practicing and then did that tournament. We didn't do too bad, but we didn't too well. We got a limit. We got like top 25, so it's not bad. But then after that one, we went down to Pickwick, and that one was rough.
Oh,
the water and the wind was blowing. There's rollers. It was bad. But yeah. So we went to Pickwick, got back from that, and then let's see. I mean, honestly, can't even remember how many tournaments I'm doing. There's so many. But this week
really?
I'm going down to Chick. I'm leaving tomorrow morning for a state tournament. So yeah, but yeah, we've
So
been
what
fishing a
are
lot.
all these tournaments? What
They're
are all
all
these tournaments? So you went to Center
they're
Hill.
all
What was that?
yeah, they're all Tennessee high school Bass Nation.
Tennessee bought every single one
Yeah,
of them that you fished.
yeah, they're
So
all the
is there
high
like
school
different?
ones.
Is it different regions or something? Surely they're not having
Yeah, so
tournaments
you
back
got
to back to back
three
to back
trails.
like that.
You got West, you got State, and then you got Central. There's also Southeast.
And so you register for all three of these divisions, regions, or whatever. Is that what it is,
Hmm.
or
Yeah, yeah,
however many it is? Gotcha, gotcha. So you fish Pickwick. I don't think I'll go to Pickwick next, so I probably don't need to even ask you about Pickwick. I don't even know where we are on the information deal on that, so I don't even want to get that started.
no,
But we got to, yeah, let's not start that. I don't
yeah,
want
yeah.
anybody. I heard me letting this app. He's got a secret way to backdoor to get some information, bro. Get a life. Um, anyway, so you said you went to Center Hill. So where's Center Hill at?
Center Hill, I think it's in Smithville. It's like in between Knoxville and Nashville, so it's like an hour and a half from where I am. I'm in Nashville, so
Okay, gotcha, gotcha,
yeah,
gotcha. That tournament was the one you said you guys did. You said 25th, like, oh yeah, we were. It wasn't that
yeah,
good. 25th, dude, that's good.
yeah. It's on the shaky head too. Same setup as Russell.
Really,
Yeah.
dude. I'm gonna tell you something about the shaky head. Listen, I'm about to piss off everybody that's listening right now. So you can go ahead and get your comments. Everybody's gonna be Brian. I know what he's talking about. Listen, let me tell you something about shaky head. In particular, this time of the year. Let me see. Let me ask you this first. What kind of lake is Center Hill? Does it have like
It's so
what's the
rocky,
species
bunch of
there?
rock. We got spotted bass, smallmouth, and largemouth.
All right, there you go. All right.
Hmm.
If you got a lake, I mean like listen to me what I'm about to say. If you got a lake and if it's got rock, and any of the I'll call them the I call them the minority species of bass. If it's got smallmouth or spots in it and it's got rock, I'm telling you, it is really hard to beat the good old shaky head during the spawn. During the spawn. Okay. And let me tell you why I believe this. And then we're gonna get into Center Hill, all that. But listen, it is so hard for you to outperform the shaky head if there's a rock and it's these minority species. The the smallmouth. I'm gonna get in so much trouble for that. For smallmouth and spotted bass, they come to that thing because everybody's like, well, I throw a wacky rig, I throw this. Listen, you are wasting your time with a wacky rig right now. Now, what I'm not saying that you won't catch fish on a wacky rig right now, but you're gonna be so much more efficient with a shaky head because the fish are on the bottom on the rocks. And you throw your wacky rig out there and you gotta wait for it to sink the bottom. And you gotta say, man, the shaky, just throw it up there and get it to him, man. Like, let's go. I could have been and caught that fish like 8 times. He's just waiting for you to throw a bait at him, and you're throwing something that's like fluttering down. I'm not saying you can't catch fish on a wacky rig. All I'm saying is shaky head outperforms, especially if you're fishing those fish and bedding in like I'm gonna say 4 foot and deeper, six
Hmm.
foot and deeper. It's so much easier. But anyway, so Center Hill, how many boats is in that event? How
That
these
was
tournaments?
like
How
the
do they go?
region championship. So I think it was about 120 high school, maybe.
Oh, get a life, Brennan. You said we did okay. We finished 25th. What planet do you live in, dude? Hey, give me a 25th every tournament.
Yeah, exactly.
I would be so rich. Listen, if you keep that up, you keep learning how to finish 25th every tournament, make a lot of money. So, what was
Hmm.
the deal at Center Hill?
So we started practice, and I was coming off hot from Russell, so I was like so confident in the shaky head. So I started throwing that. Then I caught like a 4 in practice. Like I was like, oh, because there's like a bunch of like standing like timber all in the backs of these creeks. There's like one bare spot with like a bunch of like flat like sloping rock. So I was like, let's chuck the shaky head in there real quick, and then like pulled out a 4 like first cast. And so I kept kind
Yeah,
of patterning that, and then it kind of like because it was like it's like one of those spring days where it's like cool in the morning and it gets up to like 80, so the bite kind of shut off
yeah,
a little bit. So it was really hot, but we're trying to figure something out. And then tournament day because we didn't really have anything like patterned like or dialed. Mainly they were just in the back of the creek, so we're just popping from pocket to pocket. But so we went to this
yeah.
one creek. It's just like for the part of the lake we were fishing, it was kind of like a one of one. It was just like a long stretch of just bluff walls on the whole entire like creek arm. So it wasn't like stupid deep, but also wasn't like really shallow. So it's kind of like gradually. So I started throwing the
Yeah.
shaky head in there because we had one fish we flipped. We caught one flipping in the morning, and it kind of couldn't pattern anything else. So we started throwing the shaky head on there. I was telling my partner, I was telling him all about Russell and how I caught him on the shaky head. And I was like, let me just throw it at the wall real quick at the bluff wall because like I was like, there's gotta be some spotted bass and stuff, catch a quick limit of spots and then upgrade from there. Then started catching them real quick. Just started pulling them in the boat. Caught about a 3 pounder, and then just filled the limit up within like 20 minutes and just kept going down that bank all day.
So, like Center Hill, is there like a stain lake? I heard about this. I worked a
Yeah,
show in Nashville a couple months ago, and they did tell me about a lot of timber in it. But does it have like is it stained? Is it dirty or is it clear? Like what's it like?
I mean, you got like portions. You got like a really windy river portion, so I'm sure that's really dirty. We didn't go down there at all, but it depends on if we get a ton of rain because that water will come over real quick and dirty it up. But it's usually like it's not like crystal clear like Smith or anything, but it's usually like kind of in the middle.
Gotcha. Yeah, that good
Yeah,
green, olive
yeah,
green
yeah. It's that
color.
green color.
Yeah, that's my favorite, honestly, during the spawns. So like I actually like to stay slightly stained to like just moderately, what would I say, moderately clear, like not real clear, because if you can get as clear as you can get or dirty as you can get and still throw a shaky head, I feel like it's better because
Hmm.
when you throw that, like when it's stained, it makes them spawn shallower. It makes them more defensive. Where like if it's clear, you flip your bait in there and they like watch it come down and then they like spin around like they do just too much and they spawn deeper the clearer the water
Hmm.
is. So I actually like it when it's I like it when it's a little stained like that.
Yeah.
Um, Something you said, I wanted to ask you about this. What do you think makes those fish shut off like later in the day like that? What do you think that deal is about?
Um, I mean, I'm not too sure because I know it wasn't just us. It was a couple other people I know that were fishing the tournament too. They said the exact same thing. But I mean, I think it's got to be something to do with the sun getting up and it just gets real hot real fast. I don't know. That's just what I think. But we were trying a bunch of different stuff and it wasn't anything consistent after the sun got up.
I does it have docks on it?
Very few. It's like one of those lakes that has
Very
like
few.
none. It's like a lob
Yeah,
about it or something.
I um I experienced that at Hartwell too when we fished there. Like, was that right after the classic or right before? I can't remember. I think it was
Hey
right
Brian,
before. Yeah.
I've got a screenshot of I think I've got the right lake. If you want me to put it up on the screen, If you want to
Center
take it.
heel? Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Put it on the. We
Yeah.
probably should talk about Russell since that's the one of ours he won. Yeah, we can put it up there. Yeah. So it's real windy. It sort of
It's
looks
got
like
the
Smith
river
Lake in a
portion.
way. Yeah, it looks a lot like Smith Lake, actually. That's where he just fished from. I You're talking about how those fish shut off in the middle of the day. I think if they're spawning, I guarantee you those fish that you were catching there on that shaky head were probably spawning too. I
Yeah.
actually think what happens is they just lock down on the beds even tighter during later in the day. In the morning, they're a little bit more defensive. They're just out to get whatever it is, and then when it gets higher sun, I feel like they actually just get more just on the bed. Like I'm
Yeah.
not moving from this spot right here. And what I just try to do is like actually go slower. Cause I bet what you were fishing was like that little ledge rock in the back of the creeks where it like tables off. Is that what you were fishing,
Yeah, I mean,
probably?
there's a bunch of like laydowns and stuff. So I was like throwing it because there's like it's actually crazy. There's like so much wood and just standing bushes because they like dropped the lake for like 8 years. So like a bunch of like trees and stuff just like grew up.
Yeah.
So I was like
Mhm.
throwing it right in the gaps between them, like hitting the back of the wall, and they would just fall down and they just smoke it.
Yeah. I think the thing is I always say this. So you do a lot of what I call blind sight fishing in Florida.
Hmm.
You're fishing for fish you know is spawning, but you can't see them.
Yeah.
And so you really gotta like almost like 5 foot intervals, 10 foot intervals for casts. Like you obviously identify where those fish were. So you just like pitch it to the bank and you work it down that ledge and then you literally
Yeah.
like I mean like that much, like as far as your arms are apart, 10 foot,
Yeah.
8 foot, another pitch. And you
Yeah.
can really slow down because you know where the fish are. So there's no need in
Oh
trying to
yeah.
like cover a bunch of water. You
Yeah, we were
just
there all
you
day.
just slow it. Yeah, just slow it down in like 10 foot intervals. Just zoop, zoop. That's the way to do it. I did that at Smith last week. Um, which is a whole nother story. There's a lot of you catch so many fish there, but that was kind of the program. Once you got somewhere
Yeah.
where you knew the fish were, just like these little 10 foot intervals with that
Hmm.
shaky head. Um, let's talk about Russell for a minute because that's what everybody in the app is wanting to talk about. Let's see if I got any questions popped up. I didn't see. Just mainly just conversation. Y'all, if you're watching, go ahead and put your questions in the chat. We'll definitely get to them. But let's talk about Russell. Give me your one pager on Russell, and then we'll kind of
Got you.
start. We'll get into like
It's
some
a good one.
details of. Yeah. I bet so. I can't wait to hear this. So
Yeah.
you show up at Russell. What was the practice like? How many days? Give me the one pager. How'd this go
So
down?
okay, yeah. Tournament was on Sunday. Then we had the school Saturday. I think I was trying to get down there like to fish half of one of the days, and then so we got down. We're driving down because we're in Nashville. It's about a 6 hour drive. So we're driving down, and we had car trouble. I actually had car trouble at the
Oh,
last one too. So it was like, dang, like it was just unlucky.
really?
But yeah, we were stuck in Atlanta all night, and so I only got that one day. I think it was the Friday before the school, and I caught
Yeah.
like it was half the Friday. I caught one crappie and one like 12-inch largemouth, and
Really?
then we had the school the next day. So yeah, that's how my practice went, and I was kind of like, okay,
Really?
but yeah,
Dude, they were biting so good that week. Oh
yeah,
my God. That was like, they probably still are biting good. Probably get some
hmm,
topwater stuff now, but
yeah,
they were eating. They were eating. It was a bonanza. So just that one day of practice,
yeah. It was like 4 hours,
4 hours,
and then a
and you
little bit
catch one.
after. Yeah, I caught one bass, and then it was a little bit. I went out for like a few hours till dark after the school, and I was just like covering water, marking a bunch of stuff for the next day. I just went up and down this one creek arm, marking a bunch of stuff.
And like marking. What was your idea? What were you marking?
I was if I saw like because there's some spots I found in that lake. There's a bunch of like kind of like grass growing up. I don't know. It's kind of like or it's kind of
Hmm.
like it's like weird. It wasn't like grass like algae grass. It was more like the ones that are like kind of like little twigs just like standing up. So I was marking some of that stuff, and then if I saw laydowns and some points and stuff, I would just go and zipping on by, just dropping waypoints on all the stuff.
Yeah, what you said right there. We talked about this in the app. I tell people this all the time, and we did this in the Fall Fishing Academy. We talked about how to just how to break down a lake,
Hmm.
and so much of practice is actually not fishing sometimes.
Yeah.
You did exactly just that. Like you found things that you could go back to. If you got a catalog of just stuff to hit, it gives you a place to go, especially if you hadn't caught anything. It gives you
Hmm.
a place, to go and catch a few fish, or not even catch a few. You just got a roadmap of somewhere to
Yeah.
go.
So you're
It's a
more confident.
process. Yes, you got a process. So you mark all this stuff, and then what?
And then, I mean, you talking about tournament day? I mean, I just went back. I saw one spot in practice that I saw some possibly spawning fish. Like they weren't kind of on bed, but they were cruising down the bank, and they're pretty decent size too. So I was like, might want to start there tournament morning. So I went there tournament morning, and then fish weren't there. Didn't see them, didn't bite, and I was like, okay, gotta figure
Imagine
something new
that.
out. Yeah, imagine that. Never thought that would happen.
Yeah. Yeah, that doesn't happen in fishing. That must have been the first time that's ever happened to
Mm-hmm.
you. Probably won't
Yep.
ever happen to you again. Yeah. So this, like you're saying, like there was a pocket or something you had fish that were cruising.
Yeah, there's a pocket. Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw like a 5 pound largemouth. It was up in the grass pocket I found. It was just a 5 pound
Yeah.
largemouth cruising and some like little 2 pounders all up in the stuff. You could just see them.
And then, yeah, yeah. A lot of times they wouldn't, especially if you went there early, they might be
Yeah,
up
they weren't
right
there.
like that in the morning. Yeah. So that's how it started, and then what happens?
And then I was pulling out of there and I was looking on my graph and I'm like, huh, there's like a little short point there. It was like 100 yards out from where the creek or little pocket I was in like opens up. So I just zip on over there, put the trolling motor in. I'm like I just sometimes I like pitch out like my lure while I'm putting the trolling motor in, and then I close the
Yeah.
bail, and immediately my drag just starts going, and I reel that
Yeah.
sucker
Yeah.
in, and it's like a 20-inch spot. It was like 3.5 pounds. I'm like, okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I just
There's he
kept
is.
fishing
There
there.
he
Yeah,
is.
there he is. Yeah, I was like, okay, that's a good
There.
way to start the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
It's
yeah,
it's crazy how like I don't think we admit it. I mean, I could admit it. There's several times where something like that clued me in on the deal. Almost, I would say sometimes almost 50% of the time, like when I'm trying to find a pattern, a lot of times what ends up developing is so haphazard. I would love to give you these stories where I thought about it the night before and I saw the moon was full and I looked into the sky and I said, this is when we need to fish inside of those short pockets on the main lake. Dude, that don't ever work out for me. It's like
hmm,
you try, and then like something like you said just haphazardly happens and it gives you a clue. But
yeah,
you gotta like stay conscious. So when that does happen, you don't take it for granted that
yeah,
you just caught one with the bill. Because probably what happened, you threw that thing out and it sat there on the bottom long enough for you get it
yeah. He's
time.
just
Most of the
kind of
time,
looking at it. Yeah, he just
yeah,
nose down to it. Yeah.
yeah. I think a lot of times I definitely think we like overwork our baits too much.
Hmm.
Sometimes we throw it out there and you got to shake it and reeling it and pulling it. If
Yeah.
you ever do like any kind of underwater footage on your baits, you'd be amazed at how much you move a bait, dude,
Yeah.
by shaking it. Like you move it so much. So slowing down like that probably makes a big difference. That actually that actually happened to me at Hartwell. I had this big plan of how I was gonna fish, and I left my area. I did catch them okay in my area that I found, and I'm coming back. I left my area. It took like way shorter time for me to get to weigh in from my main spot on the way in. And so I had like 15 minutes. I'm like, crap, I got 15 minutes. I could have stayed up there a whole nother 10 minutes. Like if you're on a spot that's got fish, 10
Yeah,
minutes is
for
a long
sure.
time, right? Like you can catch another one or two more fish, two more culls. So, dude, I leave my area like way too early. And I get up there near the launch. I'm like, crap, I ain't got nowhere to fish. I didn't want to come up here. They ain't catching nothing here. And so I pull up to this shoal, dude, and they come up schooling. Poo, 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 poo. I throw my jerk bait out there and I catch a 4 pounder.
There
Like
you go.
not a four, it was like a 3.8, okay?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I
Four
threw it in
pounder,
a
four
live
pounder.
well, yeah, 4 pounder. 4-pounder. He 40 under. So I throw him in a live well, head the way in, and it still didn't dawn on me. And then, like a big dummy, the next day, instead of starting off on that spot, I went to like 2 other points first. Then I go to that point that I caught the 3.8 on the day before, and I proceeded to catch like 15 pounds in like 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And that spot ended up being what got me to the top 10. But like, I would love to tell you that I had this great idea and I strategized and I did this and I did that and I found this point that was loaded and they bestowed themselves upon me. That's not what happened, dude. It was luck. It was luck. It was a little bit of luck. Now, what I did
Same, yeah.
after that wasn't luck, but like how I found it was, I mean, I didn't mean to find it. Matter of fact, I was mad because I was fishing it at first, but it ended up being how I ended up catching like almost 19 the next day. It's crazy how that works.
Mm-hmm.
So you catch so you does it click right off after you catch this one on just a cast and throwing the trolling motor in? Do you
Yeah.
catch another, like, does it click? What happens?
After the first one, and I don't usually get like too like confident. Like, oh my gosh, I just found something. Like, I'll test it out again. And so I just catch that one, throw them in the live well, and then I pitch back in there because I'm sitting there. The points on the Russell kind of like come out like really long and they're skinnier. But
Yeah.
I was sitting like my boat was here. I was looking straight at it, so I was throwing right on it, and I was fishing like the left side where it kind of tapers off from the right side, and then like the middle where it kind of comes out to me. I throw back in there, and then I catch another 17 and a half next cast. Like, I just threw it in there, maybe like shook it a little bit, drug it 5 feet, bam. And I was like, okay, now there's something, like you catch a 17 and a half and a 20, and like you're like, that's gotta like mean something,
Yeah. Yeah. Greg Hagden says, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You ever see Greg Hagden interviews? You know what I mean? Hey, I mean, it might be some here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, you catch one. I got, like, how many fish do you need to catch before you say, okay, this is something?
2 or 3 depends, especially if they're
2 or
like
3.
really close together every cast. I mean, if I'm practicing, I'll just
Yeah.
leave. Like, I'm gone.
Amen. That's the way I am. I think for me, like you said, you could, especially in the spring, you could catch a fish just about
Yeah.
anywhere. I would say,
Mm-hmm.
right? For me, all right. So one is just like, you're liable to catch one anywhere. 2, now I'm starting to pay a little bit more closer attention to, where these bites are coming from. When I catch a third one, that's an area. There's
Yeah.
something that's either area, that's either a bait is right, that's either a depth is right, something. Now I'm starting to like critically think about what to do with that
Mm-hmm.
information
Yeah.
because one can happen. I mean, you literally, especially February through June, you can catch one doing just about anything that's possible. 2, all right, now my eyes are starting to get a little bit big. And when I get that third one, oh yeah, that's it. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think, I mean, to be fair, there's not many, you know this from fishing tournaments. There's not a lot of practice days where you get 3 consistent bites doing the same thing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like, like you catch one on this end of the lake, you catch one on a dock, and then you catch one out in the middle on scope. And it's like, and then you're trying to piece all that together. But if you get 3 doing either the same area, same bait,
Yeah.
same thing, you got me. You got me,
Mm-hmm.
homie. Take me to the bank. Yeah. So, and what you're talking about, this happened on tournament day, right?
Tournament day, yeah. I come out of that pocket, and then I start fishing that little point, and I catch the 20-incher and then 17 and a half, and I was like, got something, got something going,
Yeah.
especially after my practice. But
So what was this on? What did you catch them on?
all on the Z-Man, got the big TRD, green pumpkin, and then the SMH head right here.
Yeah. What size SMH did you use?
I think it was 316, so I wasn't fishing more than 12 foot. So I would throw it in the shallow end and work it down.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. I usually start with that 316 too.
Yeah.
Um, I started using a quarter a lot more as of recent.
Same. Yeah.
The quarter just so I could just go ahead and get it down there, especially like if it's not too like if it's not that rock that gets down in the crevices or
Mm-hmm.
if it's not too slimy, not a slimy bottom. I've been using the quarter a little bit more than um than I have the 316. But if I was gonna buy one, it'd be 360. Like if
Yeah.
somebody
You can
asked
fish
me
that anywhere.
anywhere shallow, like you can fish it in this much or 20 foot. You can
Mm-hmm.
fish the 316. It's most versatile. The quarter, you can fish it. It gets tough to fish it much shallower in like 6. But then also with the quarter, you can't skip it that good. The
Oh yeah.
316th I can
Mm-hmm.
still skip, but the quarter is really tough to make it, manipulate it, make it do anything special. Now, and I'm assuming you just rigged yours just shaky head,
Yep.
like Texas
Shaky
shaky
style.
head. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. What was the rest of the setup look like?
I think it was 7 foot. I don't think it was medium heavy, but I think it was medium. But yeah,
Yeah,
I
medium usually.
literally as soon as I started catching them, I just took all my other rods, put them away, and only fished that.
Yeah, that's all you need, dude. I told
Yeah.
people this. Like I did. So if you came, I think it was Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I'd fish Thursday and Friday, and I literally went to a point, and there's really only about 3 or 4 baits you needed for that tournament.
Yeah.
You could throw the shaky head. You could throw. I was throwing a Carolina rig a lot because you could fish even deeper and keep it on the
Mm-hmm.
bottom. My son was smashing them on a little swim bait, little
Yeah, I saw that.
2.8 swim bait. Oh my, the kid caught. He low key, like seriously, low key caught more fish than he got more bites than I would get on that swim bait. Um, you can throw that in a jerk bait. That's all you needed,
Mm-hmm.
and you could just take 2 of those. You could take just one of them if you needed, if you wanted to, and catch
Yeah.
all the fish you wanted. Um, I forgot why I was saying all that, but anyway, I did an on the water demonstration, just showing people, um, like what to look for because you can what you just said, like those little rounded points. Well, I call them knobs. Some of them are
Mm-hmm.
points, and then
Yeah.
there's
It was
also like
that's
these
more of a
little
good
knobs.
description.
Yeah, like just like they're not like you almost don't even see it until you get over there and you see it.
Yeah. They're all
Like,
by those like channel markers too. Almost on
yeah,
every one.
100%. Yeah, like where you talking about the poles?
Yeah, yeah. Those like red and green channel marker pull things. Yeah. Almost on
Did,
every one it
did
had one
you?
of those knobs.
Yeah, like you talking about the pole itself, or like them marking the point?
Yeah. What in the creek I was in, majority of the little knob point things are right next to the poles.
Did they get on those poles too?
Yeah, for sure.
Like the actual pole, they get on those. Like
Yeah,
literally the pole. Just
I can see
you
them
just
on there
throw
on
up
my
there.
scope.
Yeah. Oh, it's so fun. You can throw up there and you'll see them like come out as it's sinking.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, but it's
Hmm.
always only one. Like
Yeah, they
just
like
one.
fall it out and just look at it, and then they go back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What I found out with that is not working it.
Hmm.
They do exactly what you said. You throw it up there and they come out, follow it down to the bottom, like disappear for a second. You're like, where, bro? What? Like, what the?
Yeah,
You're like, what's going on? And so what I started doing is just like, just let it sit there, and then you'd pick it up and it'd just be,
yep,
like you just like not working it. Um, but those little points, like, dude, that's all you had to do in that tournament. And
hmm
I, I don't know. It was such an easy tournament. That's one why I wanted to go there because I knew anybody. If you could just hold a rod, you could catch a fish there. But it's
yeah,
one of those things that's so easy to overthink. Like I think some guys did catch them on reaction baits, but if you
yeah,
want to catch numbers and like a lake like that, I feel like the more numbers you catch, the bigger the fish you're gonna catch because you got to go through them.
yeah.
Like
That's what I was saying.
just tie on the shaky head, even a Ned.
Yeah,
Just
that would have got
tie
bit
the
too.
thing on. Yes, yes, it would have. I'd rather do a shaky head because you got a bigger hook. It's like
Yeah, yeah,
doesn't hang up as much. I'd rather throw that, but You can just fish, just go. Put it on turbo
Hmm.
and go. So you find this point, you get a hint, catch a couple, you take all your rods off the deck, focus on the shaky head. Then what? Like, what's your thought process after that?
So I took what I learned in the class because y'all were talking about, like area and pattern lakes. And after the second or third fish, I was like, okay, like because we already discussed, everyone knew it was a pattern lake. So once you found something, just apply it. So I was more confident, and I just started fishing the shaky head. Because I started fishing that point, I caught three off there, and they were all good ones. And then it shut off for 5 minutes, but I knew there was fish there. Let's talk about that too. Like if you know there's fish, just stay. And then
Yeah, yeah.
I stayed there for another 20 minutes, and then bite picked up again, caught my limit real quick, and then it's actually so I caught my big one like on the left side of the point, and I cast it on the right side of the point, and then caught another 21 incher. So I had a almost 4.5 pounder, and then like a close to 4 pounder. So they're both came
Bro,
off that one point.
4 pounders are huge on Russell.
Yeah,
Huge. Like, how many did you weigh your fish? How many pounds did you have? I
I
still
had
don't know how to
15
do
and a
inches,
half.
dude. 50. That's that, dude. That is I bet I can count on my hand how many times I had 15 on Russell. They had so that same day, like the day before that tournament, one of the biggest tournaments on Lake Russell. It's called the 72
Really?
Marine Tournament. It's been
Oh,
going
I heard
on
about
since
that
I
one.
was
Yeah,
like
there
a
was one going on.
yeah. They were fishing Saturday while we were in school.
Yeah, yeah.
I think 15 won that one.
Hmm.
And I think that's probably like a $5,000 guaranteed tournament at least. Somebody in the
Yeah.
comment section somewhere might know, but like it's a big tournament. It probably had over 100 boats or so, and it's been going on since I was like a baby. Like I don't know how many years that tournament's been going on, but like a long time. It's well over 25 years. I know, I know at least that long, probably 30, maybe even 40. Like it's a long tenure, but I think it took 15 to win that one, and that's the
Hmm.
best local fisherman that in the area, and
Yeah.
it took 15. So to catch him 15 pounds like that that's not that's don't take that lightly.
No, yeah, especially on like a spotted bass dominant lake.
Yeah. So I will say this, man. When I was younger, you thought of spotted bass as a way to get you a quick limit in the morning, and then you would go on to do other things.
Hmm.
It's not that anymore.
Yeah. Well,
Like
around here it
spotted
kind of
bass.
is, but yeah.
Yeah. So actually, the spots that we have in our lakes are I'm pretty. I've never been to Center Hill, but I'm 100% certain it's
Oh, they're
not the
so
same
different.
ones.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
My
have
spotted bass
Alabama
I caught were
spots.
crazy looking. Yeah.
Yeah, they're green. They're green there.
Uh
They're like
huh.
that shiny olive looking green.
They're
Not
just short and
even
fat.
olive, more like a yeah. Those are Kentucky spots y'all have.
Hmm.
We have Alabama spots. The Alabamas get way bigger,
Yeah.
real aggressive. The Kentuckys aren't as aggressive, and they you can catch them just about anywhere. It's a different kind of spot. Um, I was going to ask you something about I can't remember where we were going with that. I don't remember, but 15 pounds is strong, man. That is
Hmm.
I don't know that I've caught 15 pounds of spots on Russell. Maybe if I had like one big largemouth. There was
Yeah.
one day in practice we might have had like 13, 13-ish. So that's a good bag of fish, man. Really good.
Yeah.
Four and a
I
half
think
pounders are hard to catch.
yeah, my smallest was like 17 and a half, almost 18 inches. So yeah.
The smallest was,
Yeah, the
which
smallest
is which is like a two and
2 pounder at least.
three
Yeah.
quarters. Two, yeah, at
Hmm.
least a 2 pounder. At least
Yeah.
I know that for a fact. Um, Michael, did you see any questions in the chat? I screenshotted some. I'm gonna find
Yeah,
those.
there's a couple in here.
Where did you find? Let's see what did you get? And I'm gonna pull up these questions that I had.
All right.
I'll save.
With the shaky head, do you like the heavier style or lighter, like quarter ounce? I know it's one of those things, depth dependent. I'm sure, but what's the weight you use the most?
Yeah. So we did dive into that a little bit. The question, Brendan, he's asking, what size shaky head do you like to use
Yeah.
the most? We can kind of just more formally go into that if you want to.
hmm I mean, I mainly fish just the 3/16s, but if I'm fishing deeper, I'll definitely tie on a like quarter ounce.
Yeah. I think that's, like I mentioned, I have been using quarter ounce a little bit more as of recent, just to hurry up and just get it out. And like, I'm
Yeah.
even starting to debate in certain tournaments, like going ahead and put it on this time of the year specifically. I'm actually debating putting it on a bait caster for
Yeah.
certain situations, just
hmm
for certain situations. I want to try it. Let me tell you why I don't use a bait caster. Um, but I want to explore that a little bit more just for certain situations. And I'll tell you what that is. So my worry with the spinning rod, I mean with the bait caster, when you like upsizing just everything, 15-pound test, quarter ounce shaky head on a bait caster, like a 7 foot medium heavy or something is what I'm thinking about. My worry is you flip that shaky head out on those little ledge rocks like what you're talking about. I'm not talking about like casting it out a long way, but just say you just flip it out on those little ledge rocks and you're just fishing for those spawners. A thing that concerns me a little bit is if I do that, when I go to set the hook with that short range with the shaky head, I'm worried about moving that fish so much that potentially you lose more fish.
hmm
One of the things that's good about a spinning rod is most of your spinning rods have like a softer power in action.
Yeah.
The drag is better. And on my shaky head, like I wasn't using small line. I don't know what your deal was. I used
Yeah.
10-pound test braid and 12 or 15-pound test fluorocarbon. Is that
Yeah.
what's your deal?
I was thinking I had on. I was using spinning reel, so I had 15-pound braid and I think 8-pound test.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
dude, I like almost never use smaller than 10 anymore.
Yeah.
Almost
Unless I'm at
never.
like Smith Lake.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's
Like
like real
even
clear.
Smith. I don't know. I never think about line size and water clarity really. It's just like
Yeah.
what line is going to help me do the job the best
hmm
is where I'm at with it. Because you're not going to tell me they see the line and then they don't see the hooks.
Yeah.
You literally got a freaking gaff hanging out the bait. I just have
hmm
a time believing that he looks past the metal hook hanging out the plastic
Yeah.
and looks and says, "Oh heck no, that's 12 and not 6." I just can't see that working. Now, on the contrary, 6-pound test with certain baits can make that bait perform better than 15, cast better, sink better, more wiggle, less wiggle, change the sink rate. So in that event, I do move my line tests around, but not really that often. Anyway, back to the rod and the bait caster with the shaky head. My only thing is I'm thinking like you might move that fish a little bit too far, create slack in the line, and lose
Yeah.
the
Too
fish.
fast.
Move them too fast. A lot of your bait casters are faster ratio. You're going to rush that fish and actually lose them. I don't know this, but I'm predicting that. I am going to try it. I'm actually going to try it this weekend. So, spinning rod, you set the hook, and even with the 15-pound test line, I've got such a good drag system on my spinning reel that
hmm
I just modulate the tension better when they make that long run at the boat. Where with a bait caster, like the drags are just horrible on bait casters. Everybody says, "Oh, I got a good reel. I just upgrade my equipment." Listen, author, it ain't good, man. Like it's
Yeah.
just not good.
It's too
It's like
strong or just not enough.
it's just too strong. It zips off real fast, or it's locked. It's one or the
hmm
other. Which bait casters, they're made to lock. They're made to bind up. They're not made to release the lines smoothly. So, but I want to explore that and see if there's an advantage at certain times of the year. Um, I just came from Smith and I was fishing my shaky head in some real sketchy situations over cables.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
like all of that junk that's in Smith.
Yeah.
And I would just like to have a little beefier rod to be able to just pull like a 2-pounder over the cable. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
That's hard to do. That's hard to do with a medium power spinning rod. Like just a 2 pounder, just to pull that fish up and over the cable. Not that easy. So in situations like that, I'd like to just explore. Can I do this with a bait caster and still get the job done the right way? I'm thinking about doing that. Now, to answer my guy's question that he actually asked, that I went all the way around to Uranus on, it's 3/16 and a quarter. The
Mm-hmm.
SMH head only comes in three sizes:
Yeah.
an eighth, 3/16 and a quarter. I didn't do anything heavier than a quarter because in my mind, when you start getting heavier than a quarter, you need something else. You don't need a shaky head. You need like a sling head or something. In my mind, if you're trying to, it's not after that point. It's just not a shaky head.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're gonna need something pretty stiff. Like even the quarter, yeah, I wouldn't throw a quarter on 8 pound. I'd throw it on at least 10 because it's a lot of
Yeah.
weight to be whipping around. You know. All right, Mike. We have any other questions?
Yeah. Mac Toon asked, why use a shaky head over, say, a 2/0 thin wire Texas rig with light weight? The tail still rises up on the fine wire Texas hook.
I can't. I can't think of a reason why I would want to do that. Why would I want to have two components when I could just have one? Texas rig, I got a hook and a sinker. With the shaky head, I just got, it's just got a shaky head. The hookup ratio is gonna be better. I just can't think of a reason why I would. You could do that. Matter of fact, I grew up doing it that way. I just can't think of a reason I would want to use two components over one. What's yours? Like, Brendan, what's your deal?
For me, I mean, I had confidence in it. I've caught fish on shaky head year round, so that's more of my like confidence lure. And I also know, I mean, spotted bass just I don't know for whatever reason they just like it. Like
They like it.
I don't know. Yeah, it's just you can't explain it. They just like it. But yeah.
Yeah, like they just like it, and they like. Listen, I found this out. You know, like I made a worm to go with that shaky head. It's called SMH worms.
Hmm.
I promise you, they bite the big TRD better in the
Yeah.
spring
Yeah.
than they do the worm that I designed for the shaky head. And I
Hmm.
don't know why. Like stumpy fat baits,
Yeah.
they like that. I don't
It's
know why.
weird.
But Mac, yeah, you could do a Texas rig. I just can't think of a reason why you would throw a Texas
It,
rig when you could just throw the shaky head.
Mac
You know,
Max says
you could
that
do that.
his thoughts that Texas rig is more weedless.
We don't have weeds. We got rocks and
Yeah.
clay. It, so you want to stop. I noticed this. I noticed this from a lot of people in that tournament. And I don't think I did a good job. I rode around and watched what people were doing, how they were fishing. Listen, guys, when you're fishing the spawn and you have smallmouth or spotted bass, really even largemouth, you don't really want to be looking for weeds and snags. That's not the deal. Laydowns, not the deal. Timber, that's not the deal. It's bank transitions.
Hmm.
It's bottom transitions. It's clay to sand, sand to clay, clay to pea gravel. Um, Even he was talking about center hill. That's bottom transition where that rock, that shelf rock. It's bottom, bottom, bottom. It's not wood. It's not laydowns. It's not that stuff that you look at and say, "Ooh, a bass should be on it." That's not what they use, especially on a Highland reservoir. Even if for my people there in Florida, like Ray, I got a few other guys here in the app from Florida. Uh, in Florida, it becomes more like a lily pad deal during the spawn. But and I would use a Texas rig because a Texas rig you need to be weedless. But if you're on a Highland reservoir, if you're fishing around snags, generally speaking, okay, listen to what I say. Generally speaking, that means a good rule of thumb to follow is if you're trying, like, that ain't the deal. It's just not the deal. You're not going to catch as many fish trying to do that. The laydowns, leave them alone. The timber, leave them alone. That's pre-spawn because bass like to get beside something before they like to be able to suspend in a laydown, suspend in a dock, suspend in the timber before they spawn. But when they're actually spawning, that is not the deal. It is bottom transition, bottom composition. So weeds aren't a factor. Snags aren't a factor at all. Um, Great point. I'm glad you brought that up, Mactoon, because I did see quite a few people looking for something, and you won't find it on on Russell. It's a barren lake. I had to learn how to do that. The lake that really taught me a lot about my home lake was Beaver Lake in Arkansas. That lake taught me a lot about fishing, actually, about finesse fishing. Okay. Was there anything else, Michael?
I'm not seeing anything else.
Okay, I got a couple. Hey, so Brennan, so I got some questions. Some of these are for about the tournament, and there's a couple that I want to ask that are just general fishing questions that I'd love to
Yeah.
hear what you think about them. Um, so this is Mark Jonas. He says he had a question for Brennan. He said, "Wait, Brennan, let me see what the actual question is." He said he had one. Okay, we might have kind of covered this. So Mark Jones, he says, I think you stated that you had one real hot point that caught most of your fish on. Any specifics to why you chose that particular point, or is it just a random, or was it just random that you pulled up on it? What type of bank made up that point? Was it rock? Was it clay? Or was it something else? That was a lot,
Yeah.
wasn't
So,
it?
I mean, I think it like the choosing part of it, it was just closest. So I was like, might as well fish it. I mean, I'm not gonna come back to that pocket I had nothing in, so might as well fish it on the way out. So I did, and it was more of that. It was more of that clay, but it also had some rock mixed in. It wasn't just barren nothing. It had the clay and the rock.
Yeah, chunk rock on the bottom of it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the deal there. There was, I promise you, like that week, I felt like there was a bass on every single point in the
Oh,
lake.
for sure. I figured that
Basically,
out.
yeah,
I
like
literally
if
was
you
like,
found a point,
yeah. I went like in like a 5 mile radius of where I started in that one creek. I just went from point to point to point, and I figured out the shorter ones, the fish are more concentrated on them, and you can catch them a
yeah.
lot easier. But the longer ones, you have to sit there a little longer and work it, and then you catch them. But I just kept going down there and culling, and then just catching bigger ones, doing the same thing.
You know, so let me tell you something I learned. I used to fish only the shaky head down there, and what you just said, maybe this will help you next time. Just if you want to fish those longer, flatter points, those longer, flatter points, those are better for the Carolina rig.
Yeah.
The shaky head fishes better on contours. So like you remember you were talking about even center heel, perfect, perfect, perfect for a shaky head, where you just kind of letting that thing cascade down
Yep.
a rock wall or something. Even like you said, the shorter, steeper point, those little steeper points that you're talking about, perfect for the shaky head. But like, as you found out, like you said, those long points that reached out in the middle of the creek or the river channel, it's like, oh, it's murder trying to jag a shaky head out there.
Yeah.
The Carolina rig, you throw him out there and it's already on the bottom, and you
Mm-hmm.
can just pull it along a lot faster. Sometimes you catch bigger fish doing that.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that's good. I'm glad you brought that
Yeah.
up. This was from Christopher Bowman. And we kind of talked about this, but let's ask them. Man, people they put their questions in the ask be like, let's just answer them twice. Like we already answered them. Well, let's answer it twice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so Christopher Bowman says, what did you do different during the tournament to help you win compared to the days earlier, such as color selection and type of bait? So basically, he's just asking. And I know we talked about this, but he's
Yeah.
asking, "What'd you do before the that changed in the tournament?"
Yeah, so I mean, I had like a bunch of stuff tied on. I kind of knew there's like gonna be 3 to 5 baits. You catch them on. That was more confidence. I had like chatterbait more for largemouth. I was trying to find some bigger largemouth areas. Then I had the chatterbait, shaky head, spinner bait. I think I had a jig and probably a crankbait too. But
Yeah,
the whole time I just had on the green pumpkin SMH,
big,
not SMH worm, big TRD. And
yeah,
that's in practice. I was kind of fishing it. I went way back in a river. That's where I caught my only bass of practice, and I just kind of, I
yeah,
think it was kind of random, but and then I just started fishing more of like kind of like not all the way back in the pockets, but more of like the openings with it, where it's kind of like the gradual contours into like deeper water, but it's still shallow, kind of like works its way down. But yeah, so I was doing that, and then on tournament day, I just started doing points, and that kind of panned
yeah,
out in a good way.
yeah. They were just on those points, dude.
Oh yeah, for
It's
sure.
like every point you went to. So this is a general fishing question. I'd love to hear what you think about it. You get to fish many docks where you live?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah. So this is a dock fishing question. It's from Ken Pfeiffer. It says, "Do you target shade lines several feet away from the dock, due to the angle of the sun?" So what I think he's talking about, you pull up to a dock and the shade line might be,
Yeah, it's kind of like to
15,
the
20
side.
foot
Yeah.
off. Yeah.
hmm
You target that several feet away or just like under the dock.
When I'm fishing docks, I feel it's more of like if they're on the docks, they're gonna be more, like in my opinion, they're more tight to the structure or kind of like on the very edge because they're kind of waiting for something to come by.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like they're more tight to the structure.
I'm with
Of
you on
course, you
that
can
one.
catch them that way, but yeah,
It's possible. Possible, I would say unlikely. Uh, Dock fishing is an art, man.
hmm
Like except for the lake that we went to that we've been talking about all night.
yep, no docks.
All of our lakes, all of our lakes have docks except for that one. Lake Russell, the whole lake is basically game management property, so there's no civilization around it. But I would say dock fishing is probably one of my favorite things to do, and I'm like, yeah, the tighter the better. Even with your cast, if your casts aren't perfect, you don't want to pull that fish. Like that fish is in his little comfortable spot underneath the dock. That's his little ambush point. And if you don't make your cast right down the side to where he doesn't have, he can't make just like a quick reaction and
Yeah.
get the bait. Sometimes you cast even 5 or 6 foot away from the dock, which is a lot. That's a horrible cast, by the
Oh
way.
yeah,
5 or 6 foot
yeah.
away.
Not where I want to
You
put it.
know, not where you want to put it. Like I really want it to almost like I want to
Yeah.
see my worm. I want to see it like lay down the side of the black
hmm
float or anything or whatever it is. But like 5 or 6 foot away, especially in stained water, that fish will hear that bait hit the water, swim out, probably look for it because it's going to sink super fast, maybe never see it, and probably just swim off into the abyss.
Yeah.
So having it right to where he can just make a quick snap. I mean, think about a snake. I ain't never been bit by a snake, but I watch a bunch of movies with snakes. Okay, so this hypothetical is extremely hypothetical. But I would imagine if there was a snake in this shop and I just walked by it 5 or 6 foot away from it, probably wouldn't bother it at all. He'd probably just sit there. I don't even think snakes can see really good. Matter of fact, I have a lot of mice in this shop, and now the fact that I'm talking about snakes is really giving me the heebie-jeebies right now. Because if one ever crawls up on my leg in the middle of one of these lives, y'all are gonna see. First of all, you're gonna hear a lot of bad words. And you're like, I didn't know Brian could talk like that. Well, buddy, you will hear it for one. Second of all, the sound that y'all are about to hear when I see that snake, even if it just goes across the floor, it's gonna be bad. Anyway, let me get to the story. But if I were to step on that snake, if I was within inches of that snake, it's probably gonna strike me. And keep in mind that a bass is a predator just like a snake, pretty much. I ain't never been bit. God, please don't ever let me. If I ever, please don't ever let me get bit by a snake. Oh my God, the trauma that I would have from that. I would never get over that. Thanks, Ken. That was a great question. I'm sure you're confused now. I don't know what snakes had to do with dock fishing, but I hope it worked out for
Makes
you. Okay,
sense.
my
It makes
guy.
sense.
Hey, my analogies can either be on point or I can put you in a state of comatose confusion. Okay, and I know it. I'm not embarrassed about it. I know it. All right, so I guess this question, you fish many spinner baits, Brennan?
Oh yeah, I used to a lot.
Yeah, that's probably one of my favorite baits. I was actually doing building a spinner bait for Z-Man. That's what this question is about. This is Ken Pfeiffer again. He said his spinner bait season is happening now. He's asking about my signature spinner bait. He said, "What stage is your developing spinner bait?" So that project is going to have to be tabled for 25 because of the tariffs. Every year, Z-Man comes up with anywhere between 15 to 20 new products, sometimes even more. And with everything that's kind of going on, a lot of our stuff is sourced in overseas. China, with Z-Man, not necessarily Korea. A lot of fishing rods are made in Korea. Fishing line is made overseas. And with the tariffs, there's a lot of what people don't see is there's a lot of back and forth with Asia before a product hits the shelf. So, for instance, I'm building this signature rod with level. I got the first iteration, it wasn't right. I put in for a second iteration. That has to come all the way from Korea to the United States. And so those iterations take sometimes 3 to 6 months just to get back a second one. So you want to get it as close to what you want a first go around. And so now with the tariffs, just to get 3 or 4, you know, just prototypes, there's a lot of red tape. And then if we take the product to market, the price points, we don't know what the price points are going to be. It's just too, we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. So a lot of things are getting tabled right now, especially if there's lower price point items. If it's something that we can't um, produce here in the States and we don't have the materials here in the States, which a spinnerbait has a lot of components. Out of all the baits that you could possibly build, a spinnerbait has the most components of all of them. There's blades, there's swivels, there's hooks, there's skirts, there's wires, there's paint, there's bees, there's all these components on a spinnerbait. So it makes it there's a lot more logistics on it. So that project is just going to have to be tabled for this year. Maybe I can make my own spinnerbait here in the shop and sell it just to people in the app. To God be the glory. All right. This is Terrell. Why do you even have to say that? This was from Terrell Everson. Oh, this would be a good one because we kind of been talking about this. This is Terrell Everson. He says, Brian, what are the chances of catching bedfish in muddy water? I mostly fished Lake Sinclair, and after the storms this past week, the lake looks like gumbo. Very similar to how it was at the seminar last year. You get to do that much, Brennan? Fishing for spawning fish in stained water, muddy water?
No, but I think Sinclair was the first time where they were spawning,
Yeah.
and it was like real dirty. But yeah.
I, I'll say this, that's probably my favorite way to catch them. Like
Hmm.
I like sight fishing because I like what it teaches you about how fish respond to different baits and your sink rate and your bait. It teaches you a lot of stuff. Like people need to sight fish more. It's just a great tool to learn about so many different things. But fishing, muddy water for spawners is so much fun, dude. You should really try it. It usually turns into like a flipping thing, like pitching and
Hmm.
flipping. Take you a tube, whatever your favorite creature bait is. One of my favorites is like a 6-inch lizard, black neon lizard, Texas rig lizard, flipping it at like little stumps, just at the bank. Um, so Terrell, one of the things that I would tell you that would be a good schoolmaster to help you, you know, to like prepare you for this situation. This is why I tell people to sight fish. If you sight fish, you see what fish are spawning on, what they're using, where they are in the water column. Okay, you're going to take that same mentality, and even though you can't see the fish, those fish are using the same stuff in staying water. And so you're imagining where those fish would use now. And I'm taking forward facing sonar out of this. Now that we have forward facing sonar, people are using, they're like finding stumps, they're looking at catwalks and stuff and seeing fish there. But what I want you to do is just imagine where a fish would spawn, and you're just pitching your lure at the bank, sometimes even at bare bank. Sometimes it's at stumps. Sometimes it's at like holes in the hydrilla. That bank grass that a lot of lakes have, in the holes in that bank grass. Those fish spawn in that because the fry hatch and it has somewhere for the fry to hide. And it's some of the funnest fishing, close quarters. Those fish are in darker water, they're more aggressive. They'll bite easier. You don't need a lot of baits. Get you a tube, creature bait, which creature bait can be a crawl, beaver, lizard, the gremlin. So the gremlin would be a good one. 6-inch lizard, a beaver style bait. Palmetto bugs is the one that I use. And you just flip it. Imagine, and you got to be real slow and deliberate. 5 foot, move it over 5, 6, 7 foot, 5, 6, 7 foot, and work that bait back to the boat. That's how you catch spawners. If you're talking about Sinclair, where your fish are going to spawn are going to be on those catwalks and ladders coming off.
Oh
They'll be
yeah.
on seawalls. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
catwalks, those shallow pilings on catwalks. They'll be on those. They will be on the stairs, like the ladders on the docks. The shallowest portion of those docks
It's
is where
just
you want
like
to
last
flip.
year.
Yeah, just like last year. Yeah, seawalls too. You just flip the seawall. Make a picture of the seawall. Pick it up, 7, 8 foot down, 7, 8 foot down. Work your way down those seawalls. Dude, it's so much fun. You figure that out, man. You're gonna have a lot of fun, Terrell. Um. Oh, here's a good one, Brendan. Especially since you were using lighter line. I'd love to hear what you think about this. So this is from Matthew Dennis. Matthew says, "Hey Brian, how often do you retie? Um, is it different during a tournament from non-tournament fishing? What's your thoughts on that?"
I think, well, when I was fishing the high school open at Smith this year, water was super clear, and so we were scoping a lot. So we started, and just from what my friends are saying too, like they could not get bid on anything else but 6 pound line. So we tied on
Yep.
6 pound, and it's sometimes it's finicky. Like even when you're tying your knot, you pull it too hard, it snaps. Like or if you don't,
Yeah.
tie the knot right, it'll snap. So you kind of have that in your head. You're like, oh, what if it snaps, breaks off? So you kind of like, and you, if your line's frayed, yeah, on 6 pound, I'd definitely retire. I wouldn't take any chances there. But because that'll snap it real easy, especially with the spotted bass. They kind of have the like little teeth. But yeah,
Yeah.
if it's frayed on 6 pound, I'd definitely retie it. But yeah,
Yeah. I hate 6 pound. I used to use it a bunch. I hate it.
mm-hmm.
Such a waste of my time, bro. Like, don't be breaking.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
yeah. Um, so Matthew, I tie pretty retie in tournament pretty often. In non-tournament fishing, I will probably never retie unless I have to. To be
Yep.
honest with you, I'm just I'm just keeping it real. I won't tie it until I break it off in non-fishing competition. But in a tournament, if I catch a big one, I'll retie. Um, I won't retie every fish I catch, but if you fish long enough, you get a sense to like, all right, I put a lot of stress on this line. You hang up a bunch, I'll retie.
Yeah.
Come across a cable, I'll retie. Like if I've thrown up under, skipped under boat dock and I've got it hung a couple times, I'll retie. So, I don't have a number to give you for when I retie in competition, but it's pretty often in a tournament. Even and line size does matter with retying, but at the same time, it's got a lot to do with the lure that I'm using. So let's take like a crankbait, for instance, or lipless. I mean, you're like whipping that thing. Even though I got like 15-pound test, 17-pound test, you just like, I mean, like I'm a son of a gun in it. And so when you're just doing all that, that's hard on that line. So, I'll retire very often. But on the same sense, if I had on like 10-pound test line and I'm just throwing like a wacky rig, that's not a lot of stress on the knot with a wacky rig. It's a light lure. I don't have to throw it that hard. It's not that much weight It's not that much inertia on the line. So, I might not retie that often, even though it's smaller line. So it's got a lot to do with the size of the lure, the weight of the lure. It's got to do with the context of how I'm using that lure. What it like if I'm bringing around cables, rocks, all this other abrasive stuff to the line, I'm gonna retie more. But if not, if it was good yesterday, it's good today.
Yep.
How about crankbaits? Have you got much into crankbaits yet?
Yeah. I mean, I fish them in the winter a lot. Not
Yeah, I'm the
usually in the
same.
sun. I mean, actually, this last year, I started fishing deep cranks a lot, and it was really fun. I mean,
Yeah,
like I went to this one bridge, and I was just deep cranking the whole time. Caught 15 pounds in like 10 minutes. Like
yeah,
it was actually
yeah.
crazy. Yeah.
Really,
So
like
yeah,
deep cranking a bridge. Tell me about that. What was the context
yeah.
there?
I exactly. I never done before. It's in like 50 foot of water. I roll up and I turn on my scope, and there you just look on there. There's like a school of 100. You see them just stacked on this bridge piling. Like it's like what not the edge piling, but like the middle ones. They're just
Uh-huh.
stacked up on this one. So I threw like I think it was a Strike King, like 6XD or something, because
6XD.
those dive
Yeah.
16, 12, 16 foot.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
chartreuse color. This was at Tim's Ford. I chuck it out there, roll it past like I throw it parallel to the piling. I roll it past there like instantly, just slam 3 pounder, flip them in the boat. I was with my buddy too, and we were just fishing those all day, and it was so fun. We caught a limit off there really fast. But that was
Yeah.
weird too.
Deep,
I never fished a bridge with a deep crank like that before. I
yeah.
mean, it worked.
That can work because it hits that range that the fish are in on bridge columns because a lot of times they're in like it doesn't matter. Like the one did I tell y'all I caught him on the bridge at Russell,
Yeah,
Trench
yeah.
Russell? My son caught like I say I caught him. My son caught him. They used to throw that swim bait on the bridge. But those bridge columns are in anywhere from 80 to 120 foot of water.
Oh yeah, I went out
They're
there.
always in they're always in like 10 or 12 foot. Always 10 to 12 foot. Very rarely are they deeper than like 15. So 6XD hits that range. Perfect. That doesn't surprise me at all. But was that like was when you caught those fish, was that like a May deal? May, maybe June?
No, dead as summer, June, like hot, like
Yeah.
90 degrees.
Yeah, yeah.
It's crazy.
That's some of the best time to do it.
Yeah.
Um, I was thinking sometimes every once in a while you get a shad spawn on
Mm-hmm.
bridges, like
Oh
bridge
yeah.
columns. They use that shade of the column to do it, so I thought that might have been your deal. Um, this is from Mac Toon. I'll take this one and one more, and then we'll jump off here for the night. Um, Mac Toon, he says, Brian, you like to throw square bill crankbaits? He says, I kind of suck at it. But I broke my crankbait rod today. I'm blaming Ricky Taylor. I know you're affiliated with Level Rods, but I won a $150 lose gift certificate in an event, and I need a new cranking rod. Um, I said, all right. So basically, he's just asking what kind of rod to use for square bill crankbaits. So do I have mine in here? I don't think I have mine in here. I am building a rod for square bills. So I like when you talk about crankbaits, you talking like my emotions get so involved in that conversation when you start talking about crankbaits. It's like women talking about shoes. It's like people that like dogs talking about dogs. When you start talking about crankbait fishing, I am overwhelmed with joy. And so I got two rods in my lineup that I created. One is one for like medium divers, spros, um, chatterbait and lipless. And then I also have another rod that I created for balsa plugs, square bills, smaller crankbaits. It's a 6'10" medium power graphite composite. And so that's going to be coming out with level. I just got the final iterations in right before I left for Smith, and I got to kind of mess with them at Smith. Listen, and I know people are going to say you're just saying this because you're sponge. I promise you, I really believe this in my heart, my little hairy heart. That rod is better than my other one. It's lighter. Composite rods, they have fiberglass in it. There's fiberglass and graphite. And a lot of times it can be a little heavy. This new one is lighter and it just looks better because it got cork handles this time. Instead of EVA, I went to cork. 16, 610 graphite, medium. power rod is what you need. You said you had a 711 gear ratio reel, but yeah, you can use that. But I like in the sixes. You don't have to have that. I feel like you overwork the bait with a little faster. Everybody always says they can slow down. Yeah, you'll slow down for a couple casts, but most of the time you won't. So I use the right reel. 6.8, 6.3s, 6.1s. That's what I like to use. All right. That's all questions. Plus, it's
Yep.
getting almost an hour and a half into it. So I like to
Got a
try to keep them around an hour,
quick
10 to
admin
15 minutes.
question
Yes, sir.
from Tron Foster. He was asking about for the qualifying tournaments. Um, this is separate from what we've been talking about. He said there's an option for registering as a team. So can we do that?
I don't have any options to register for a team. No, I don't. I don't know how I could work that. Um, yeah, I don't think that'll work in our whole format. I don't think so. But that is an interesting concept. That makes it a little bit harder because some people have a partner and a lot of people won't. So I'm gonna say we probably should keep it solo like what we've been doing. But let me just before I final on that, let me think through that. My initial thought is, nah, that's gonna be a little squirrely because some people are by themselves. Most people probably be by themselves, and that's kind of the whole beauty of it. Is I just want to try this by myself just to see if it's something that I even like, and then then decide if I want to go. If you want to go fish team tournaments, you probably just should just you probably should just go fish team tournaments. For this, think I think is going to be better off as a as a solo tournament because it's an introduction to tournament fishing. But before I stick a pin in that, let me think that all the way through. Okay. I saw it on the app. I don't know what you saw on the app, Tron. We hadn't even put any tournaments up yet. Um, I don't have it out yet. So whatever you saw was probably somebody else's tournament, not
He said I
mine.
noticed it last season and just thought
Uh,
about it.
okay, yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking we probably shouldn't try that, but let me just really think about it since we're on the spot here. I don't see any other questions, Michael, to you.
I don't.
Brennan, thank you for joining us tonight, man.
Yeah.
Hey, let me tell everybody about Brennan. I love this. You know how people always say these young kids, they just get everything given to them. So I'm like, hey, Brennan, we do lives on Monday. Can you join me? Brennan's like, nah, cuz I gotta go work. That's what I'm talking about, baby. I love it. Get that. Hey, well, you probably this is probably still old, so just forgive me. Brennan out here getting that bag.
Nah, it's not old. You still say that?
It's not old. That's still
Nah, it's
in.
not old. Yeah.
Oh shoot, bro! You never know. I might be saying something that's like 8 generations ago, man. I'm 42 years old. You never know. Oh, Brennan out here getting that bag.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yes, sir. Where do you work at, Brennan? Did you
I
tell? I
work at
don't
a
think you
ice
told
cream
me.
place. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Ice
Yeah,
scoop
yeah,
ice cream.
man.
Yeah.
Do whatever you got to do to get that bag so you can go fishing, man. I did
Mm-hmm.
everything. I picked up sticks, washed cars, I built stuff. I didn't wash cars. I washed driveways, pressure wash. I did whatever I need to do. I just need the money. Y'all figure out how you want me to get it. I'll get it. I just need the money.
Mm-hmm.
So, man, props to you for doing that, man. Great tournament. I hope you'll fish again
Oh
with
yeah.
us next year. Um, and hope you have a good season this year too, man.
Yeah. Thank you.
Because yeah, tournament fishing it can be warring your emotions. Because when it's going good, it's like you can't do nothing wrong, and then when it's bad, it's like you can't fix it. It's nothing you can do. It's
Yeah.
nothing you can do, but keep going. So great job, man. Let me know if you get to actually fishing that boat. Make sure you send me some pictures and
Oh yeah,
or
for
whatever you
sure.
do with. Let me know. I want to get one of those. I want to replace all my kayaks with that. It's kind of heavy though. It's actually it's really heavy.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really heavy.
I mean, we're picking up those boxes and they were heavy.
Yeah, not light.
Yeah.
So, but the boat is freaking cool.
Hmm.
Way better than at least the kayaks that I got. So, all right, guys, we're signing off. The next live is Friday, 12 p.m. I can't remember what the topic is on Friday, but I'll do a Friday when I know a lot of people work and have things going on at night. So we'll do one Friday at 12, talking about whatever we're going to talk about at 12. I'll see y'all then. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Brennan. Y'all have
Yeah.
a good rest of
Thank
your
you.
night.
You
See
too.
you
Yes,
guys.
sir. All right, see you.